something was off. I knew that my mental health was not okay. I knew that I needed to get back on my medication because that's something that I've always been aware of. So with migraine, after I started topiramate, I remember for the longest time I had suicidal thoughts. And for me, that was normal. Even as a kid, I was very much aware of the fact that my brain says this is way too much pain. I want it to stop. So it's not about I want to die. It's about I want it to stop. And the pain was a lot of things. It's physical pain. It's also emotional pain. It just felt like a struggle to get through life. And that kept happening. And with the medication, it kind of helped when I was on antidepressants. And I always used to go back to the doctor and say, this is not helping and that's not helping. And it did not, at that point of time, I was not able to get any sort of help. I couldn't convince my GP to believe me. And I tried to go to the hospital and ask for help. They sent me home with Tylenol. I tried to explain it to my husband. I tried to explain it to everybody. Nothing helped. I called the suicide hotline. I said, this is happening to me. And this is one time when I'm in so much pain. And I feel so alone that I don't know if I'll be able to resist the thoughts. And they said, tell me your plan. It is essentially, tell me your plan. And I broke down. That is when I broke down. I didn't know what else to do. Nobody believed me. And that led to me choosing to overdose and thinking, I just want this to end.
Mm. And then who found you? What happened? After years of chronic pain, denied treatment access, and pain minimization by her healthcare professionals, today's guest hit rock bottom. She felt completely alone. Her mental health suffered, and it reached a point where she believed her family would be better off without her. She had lost the energy to fight and the will to live. And it's an awful position to be in, yet not as uncommon as you might think among people with migraine. Welcome to our new series, Me versus Migraine, in which we dive into compelling stories of real people battling this disease. In each episode, you'll take away insightful nuggets to make living with migraine a little easier and less painful. I'm Paula K. Dumas, producer of the Migraine World Summit and editor-at-large at Everyday Health and Migraine Again.
And I'm Carl Cincinnati, founder of the Migraine World Summit and director of operations at Migraine and Headache Australia. In just a minute, you'll meet our friend Shruti. We're going to go deep and get real about migraine and mental health. We're going to hear about her struggle with PTSD, depression, anxiety, and her suicide attempt last year.
And what she's learned from hitting rock bottom might just help you pick yourself up again, right when it feels like the walls are closing in and no one really seems to care.
Shruti, before migraine took an iron grip over your life, can you tell us what kind of a student and person you were?
I was a very outgoing person. I was a child. So I was the top of my class, always getting 100% on all my exams. I was a singer. I was a dancer. I used to paint. I used to do everything indoors. I was not a fan of extracurriculars outdoors, but I was the teacher's favorite, very annoying classmate. That way, I was a leader. And it's just, I remember everybody saying that I was brilliant, and I can feel it. I could visualize a lot of things. My logic was off the charts. I had a photographic memory. That's something that got affected. But I was just a happy kid. I went off my medication in 2017, end of 2017, because I was planning to get pregnant. I was diagnosed with anxiety and depression when I was diagnosed with migraine. So they always said that my doctor has this written in her notes and I have it. She said, stressed personality. She's a stressed personality and that's why she has migraine. So I was on antidepressants before. And after I went off, again, I had my daughter. I wasn't okay in India. I knew that. When I moved here, it was a complete change, right? Completely different atmosphere. I was alone, didn't have any friends. My husband was quite busy. I had to manage everything by myself. The weather was a huge trigger for me. So I was in constant pain. And the thing is with migraine, people who don't have it can't understand you. So for me, my family actually did not understand. And that made me feel so alone.
I have learned so much from the experts that we've interviewed on the Migraine World Summit about the relationship between migraine and mental health and what a delicate balance it is. Let's listen to a clip here from Professor Paul Martin about what he had to say about the importance of social support for mental health.
To be honest, I've done research on social support, and I've done it largely because I feel I can't escape from social support. Whatever I do, I sort of trip over it. There's so much evidence these days about how important it is. I mean, for example, the cardiologists accept that inadequate social support is as much a risk factor for heart disease as the three traditional ones of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and cigarette smoking. The oncologists, many will say that if you have strong social support and you have terminal cancer, you live on average twice as long as if you have weak social support. It's a risk factor in my main research areas for headaches, but also postnatal depression. Exactly why it is, again, we're not quite sure. One model is that a lack of social support is inherently stressful. We need support from people around us. Another model is what we call the buffer model, which is having strong social support protects you against stress. But it takes many forms. There's emotional support, which is what most people think of support. You know, that's the proverbial shoulder to cry on, if you like. There's informational support, people you can go to give you advice and information. But there's also belonging support, a sense that you're not an island, you're part of a family, part of a community. And there's esteem support, which is people who make you feel you have some value, some worth. And you need all those different forms of support.